Welcome back, baby. Our special college basketball Final Four episode, Final Four edition. Our Uconn Huskies, baby. We're going to the Final Four. We're going to Houston. We're looking for number 5, baby. And we're running through the competition.
It ain't even been close.
I don't want to jinx it, but I feel good. We're the betting favorite. So, there you go. We got a lot of college basketball talk today. We're going to recap last week's Elite Eight. Preview the Final Four, talk some basketball, we're going to do our thing up here like we usually do. So, we hope you're ready for it. I know I am.
I am also ready. You mentioned it. The Huskies have absolutely been running the table. They're the betting favorite. And listen, I know if you're watching and you're in Connecticut, you're a little bummed. You can't bet on Connecticut. Listen.
I am.
I understand that. New York, depending on where you are in the state, Massachusetts is now legal. The drive ain't that bad. All I'm saying is I am prepared to take a road trip to New York to legally bet on Monday if I need to, if they are fortunate enough to make the championship. I will be in New York Thursday for opening day, so I can get my bets in for Saturday's game. Yeah.
I'm mad that I didn't put in like a future bet when I've been in New York this year.
Hey, I do want to give a shout out to Shane Swerve. He's got a future in on Uconn.
What do you get him at? Do you know?
Plus 1,200.
I know someone who got him 33 to 1. However, that math adds up.
Yeah, 3,300.
So, gotta like our Huskies' chances.
I do. They're minus 125-ish, anywhere give or take. As of right now, out of the 4 remaining to win the whole damn thing.
I wish I could be in Houston for this, man. Tickets are down to 100. That's not bad.
They're lower than that.
Wait, but they're probably also up with God.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're playing in
where the Texans play.
NRG
Stadium.
Yeah, you get way up there. We saw that when the Final Four was in New Orleans and they were playing in the Dome.
Yeah.
Like some of those seats, you get up there. Like I saw somebody in like Uconn, the AD was tweeting something. Somebody was like, "Oh, I'll be there. I got section 619." I'm like, 600? Like, bro, you literally got tickets with God.
You're gonna be up there.
Like, so that's wild.
But it would be a nice experience. One of these years. That's like one of those things.
One of my big regrets is when I was in Tampa, the women's Final Four was there. Uconn was playing in the Final Four, and I said I would go if they made the championship. They lost in the Final Four to make the championship, and I kind of regret not just going to the Final Four. Yeah. That's one of my big regrets not going.
But yeah, that's like one of them sports bucket list things, Final Four. Cause, I mean, that's like one of the biggest, because it's a weekend, too.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of hate how it lingers over into Monday. I almost wish it was Friday, Sunday.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate that, but we're playing in it. That's all that
matters. That's all that
matters. We're going to save UConn for a little bit later in the episode to keep you guys engaged.
Yes.
Let's start with this year's Cinderella, one of the best stories out there. FAU, shout out to Eric Dunn, shout out to Mike Mancuso. My boy went there for college. He was at MSG. I hope he's watching.
Better
if
be.
He's not. I'm taking the shout out back.
And so,
but the Owls, baby.
The Owls. How about them Owls? Their path. They beat as a 9 seed. And a lot of people said they were underseeded. And all the numbers did kind of indicate that. They were ranked in the final AP poll. So being top 25 doesn't really indicate a 9 seed. But they've proven that they could do it from anywhere.
I had a lot of money on Memphis that game, too.
We were big on Memphis. Tough one. FAU beats Memphis by 1. Second round.
With a game-winning shot, too, by the way. They could very well not even be here.
Exactly. One bad bounce and they'd be watching from home. Second round, the 9 seed normally would get the 1. Obviously, FDU beat Purdue, so FAU beats FDU. They beat 4 seed Tennessee in the Sweet 16, and then the Elite 8, they took care of Kansas State in a nail-biter, and now they will get San Diego State. It's kind of weird. I mentioned this with my friends earlier today when I was talking about the tournament. I said, normally like a 9 seed dancing this far, we'd be celebrating the Cinderella, this and that. It just doesn't feel like the nation's behind them as much as the Cinderella. I don't know if it's because I've just been so caught up in UConn this year that I'm not like, oh, Cinderella story's awesome, let's go. Or if it's the fact that everyone wanted the bigger Cinderella in FDU. Yeah. FAU kind of put an end to that, and then with the windmill dunk at the end, I know that turned some people off from the Owls. So I don't know what it is as far as like why more people. Again, maybe I'm just in my own little UConn bubble here. Bad on me, I guess.
But I get what you mean. Like, usually you get hyped when these teams.
Yeah.
St. Peter's last year beats Kentucky.
Yeah. I'm not saying a 9's not a Cinderella. For a 9 to be in the Final Four definitely is a Cinderella story.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I mean, the last couple of years we've had 15s making runs, and we didn't really see a deep run from, like, anyone. What? We had one double-digit seed in the Sweet 16. We had Princeton. And that was it. That was the only double-digit seed we had in the Sweet 16. So, like, outside of them, it hasn't been major Cinderella story like we've had in the last couple of years. And let's be real. Is there ever going to be a Cinderella as good as Doug and the Peacocks last year? Is anyone ever beating that?
Like, that was my question to you. Like, where does this compare to some of the recent Cinderellas? You could go back, like, 20, like, my lifetime, like 2011 VCU and Butler were big time. For me, the biggest one, like Loyola Chicago.
That one in Doug's run last year. I know we only credit Doug, but the whole St. Peter's team, Holloway coaching obviously, and then the whole roster including Doug.
But the thing about Loyola Chicago, like they were an 11 seed. Yeah. They got to the Final Four. Some people hate on Sister Jean. Like I think it's a pretty cool thing.
I'm with you on that. I'm not anti-Sister Jean.
They also, like, they didn't just make the Final Four. Like, they had some insane games.
Yeah.
Round of 64 and 32, they had game-winning shots.
Yeah.
Like either at the buzzer within like 5 seconds left. So it was just craziness left and right.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most impressive Cinderella. Because, like, another thing about the tournament, and I say this about all sports, I say it a lot in the NFL, too, come playoff time. When you win a game, like a walk-off touchdown, walk-off field goal, like a nail bite or stuff like that, like, coming off that high to play another game, it's hard, man. And that's what makes the NCAA tournament so hard. Like, because you're playing 2 games in 3 days, any given weekend here. So, to do what Loyola did, like you mentioned the first 2 rounds, the buzzer beaters are very damn near close to them. Like, to be able to do that in back-to-back games is, like, uber impressive. And, like,
their first 3 wins, too, came by a combined 4 points. So they won 3 games. They won 3 games, advanced to the Elite 8 with 3 wins combined by 4 points.
That's absurd. Like, to win that many close games like that,
ton of excitement.
Yeah.
Nail biters. Plus, they had Cam Crutwick, one of my all-time favorite college basketball players.
Yeah.
But back to the Owls. Hell of a run. Like, it obviously doesn't stink for Uconn to be in the Final Four and to be the favorite to win the national championship, but like any other year, like, and you said that earlier too, like, I'd be going crazy for FAU. And that's who I'd want.
For sure.
Like, just imagine fucking AU wins the national championship, and that's like another conversation.
You ain't getting this in any other sport either. Like, that's the fucking.
And that's like something else that like
maybe
people talk like we talked. Like, people complained kind of last year that, we had, like...
The 4 blue bloods.
We had 4 blue bloods.
Undoubted blue bloods.
Top seed, whatever. And now they're complaining that now we have, like, a couple no-names in Uconn. Like, I mean, to me, I love it. Like, how could you possibly complain about that? I mean, it's competition. This is competition at its finest. You got 3, practically no-name schools when it comes to basketball. I mean, Miami football sucks. Now, but still, that's what they're known for. And then after that, baseball, FAU. I don't even know. Other than the beaches, are they even known for any sport? So, I love that. I love this. How could we find a way to complain about it? That's because it's 2023. We'll complain about anything.
People, the argument that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. People complain like, the NCAA tournament doesn't really allow for the best team to win the national championship. It's like, well...
My ass.
Yeah, facts. Like, I've been hearing it from, a couple of my friends who aren't UConn supporters.
I mean...
They tell me... I just want to finish this thought before I go nuts. They tell me, like, oh, UConn's lucky they didn't run into Kansas. Well, if Kansas was that fucking big and bad and good, why the fuck didn't they beat Arkansas then? So I don't want to fucking hear it.
They lost to Arkansas. We fucking steamrolled them.
Arkansas. So I don't want to fucking hear that. Oh, you're lucky you didn't have to play Kansas. And that goes for any team, not just UConn. Like, and I think I said it. Like, FAU didn't have to play the 1 seed. But listen, FDU earned the fucking right to move on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they didn't get lucky against Purdue, okay? They fucking earned that right. So good on them. But, yeah, so I'm not...
And also, what you said about, like, this tournament being the hardest to win, like, it screws the better teams, whatever.
Yeah.
UConn in 2014 was the last 1 seed to not win this tournament. So how are we going to fucking talk about that? Oh, it sets them up for failure. Because, no.
We've had how many ones in a row? We've had...
Since
5 in a row, right?
No. 2015 Duke, 2016 Villanova, 17 UNC, 18 Nova, 19 Virginia, no 2020, 21 Baylor, and Kansas last year. We've had 7 in a row. This was the first year that a top seed, a number 1 seed, didn't make the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
It's the first Final Four without a top 3 seed. So, my ass, it doesn't set them up, to win.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, look at all these teams that have done it.
Exactly.
I mean, this is just a year with a lot of history, with a lot of upsets, a lot of parity in college basketball, thanks to, the COVID rule, the transfer portal, some of these...
That's the big debate. People are hating on the transfer portal for a multitude of reasons, but people are like, oh, like, this is what you get. You don't get the best teams. Like, bro, they're not the best teams because of the like, it's not that we didn't get the best teams. It's just we got the teams. Like, there's more talent. It's more spread out now. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, that's what we should want. We want parity. Like, everybody hated the Yankees when the Yankees won how many World Series, like, in a short span. Like, it became that way with the Patriots. Like, why are we treating college basketball differently? Like, why do we beg for these blue bloods to be in the Final Four every year? Like, this seems much more fun. It is much more fun. Not just seems. It is. I'm telling you. I'm living it.
Like, why do we have our panties in a bunch?
Yeah.
Like, because this shit is fun.
Just
and I'm glad that you brought up kind of what you're saying about more talent. I didn't even, think about adding this. This kind of slipped my mind. De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, yeah. Fuck
his comments. I hate that because I've always been a big De'Aaron Fox guy. This dude just pissed me off, and now he's on my shit list. But he said the other day he can't watch a college basketball game because the shot making's bad. Basically, the talent isn't there. There's bad refs. Some of the coaches are bad. I mean,
De'Aaron,
this was his statement.
Listen, buddy, hold on. You play in Sacramento. If there's any city that knows about bad basketball, it's Sacramento.
De'Aaron Fox is the same dude that lost in the Elite Eight he lost to Luke May. Who was Luke May even playing basketball anywhere? Is he one of those bums that doesn't have any talent or whatever? Because he's not playing in the NBA, but he fucking beat your ass in the Elite Eight at the buzzer. And we could pull up the video of you and Bam Adebayo crying in the fucking locker room. And I used to feel bad for you for that. I used to respect you for that. But now I'm going to call you out because you were crying like a little fucking baby. All right? So... where was the talent then? Where was all that? If you're talking about bad coaches, you went and played for Coach K, the most what's the word I want to use? Underachieving coach ever. Guy's had more talent than fucking anybody, and he's got 1 championship. All right? So you want to talk about bad coaches, you want to talk about bad teams, look in the mirror, bud. All right? Start pointing fingers at other people. Start complaining about something else. How can an NBA player say this? I mean, I hate to be completely anti-NBA, but that shit fucking sucks. I sit down, I will only watch the Knicks or maybe the playoffs deeper into I'm not going to watch a first-round matchup game from start to finish. Yeah. I'll watch, the finals and maybe the conference finals. But that shit is terrible. It's terrible basketball. And just because you can run up court and, put up 120 a game because y'all play no fucking defense and all that, that doesn't mean that you're any better than these kids, all right? So stop shitting on what America loves, all right? Unless you're a communist. That's the only explanation I have for it.
All right, that's fair.
That was my little rant. De'Aaron Fox grinding my gears. But enough about him. Enough about FAU. Want to talk Miami?
We can go Miami.
We can give them their love. I thought Texas would. Not blow them out.
Listen,
I thought Texas would win.
So I was at work during this game, and my work is not really work. I kind of just sit there, for being honest. It goes a little deeper than that, but we can leave it at that. And somebody comes in and asks, like, "Oh, you watching the game?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What's the score?" I'm like, "Oh, Texas is up 8." And they're like, "How's it going though?" And I was like, "Listen, Texas is going from up 8 to up 12, up 8, up 12. Like, it's a game of runs, and Miami just can't get the run going." And then as soon as he walked out that door, Miami went on a 12-2 run, tied the game, and for the last 6.5 minutes of that game, it was all Hurricane. And it wasn't up until it was all Longhorn up until the 6.5 minute mark in the second half. And then Miami just took over, took control, and did what they had to do. And they've, outside of Uconn, have been the most dominant team in this tournament. I mean, their closest game was this Texas game, and really, the last 6.5 minutes, like I said, they dominated. It wasn't really all that close. First round against Drake, that was a big upset a lot of people had. I think I had the upset. I mean, who fucking knows?
Speaking of that game, too, Drake had that game with a minute left.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, FAU, almost not being here because of their late win against Memphis. Miami very well could have lost that game. Drake kind of choked.
Yeah.
But since then, they have dominated.
Ended up being a 7-point game, and then Miami went on. They destroyed Indiana by 16. Something about Indiana's conference always choking in March. And then they took care of Houston in the Sweet 16, the 1 seed. Houston, they won by 14. It wasn't particularly close. And then we mentioned they beat Texas, so that's been their path here to the Final Four. And like I said, I talk about those 2 wins in the middle in the round of 32 in the Sweet 16 by 14 and 16. It's like, that's a lot of fucking points in March Madness. And then, I mean, I'm not going to harp on it right now because we're going to get to it, but UConn's winning their games by an average of 22.5 points.
And UConn's played some good teams.
Yeah, so this Miami team is nothing to slouch over.
Jim Larinaga is a damn good coach, too.
Jim Boeheim, doppelganger. God, they are virtually the same person when you look at them.
He's somebody that, his name, when does it get brought up? But
no.
This is for those who don't know, this is a rematch of 2006 Elite Eight UConn George Mason. George Mason beat us, went to the Final Four. Larinaga was their coach, and this is now the second team he's brought to a Final Four, and he's not doing it at Blue Bloods. He's not doing it at big programs. Yeah. So I'll give him a little bit of love. I don't want to give him too much before this game, but guy's a damn good coach.
Absolutely. They've earned this right to be here, and I'm excited for the matchup. I'm not. They ain't listening to this fucking podcast. I can give them the bulletin board, I guess. I did want to see Miami over Texas. Mainly for the fact that the game's in Houston, and I didn't really want to play a true road game. But the way the fucking Huskies are playing, I didn't really.
It don't matter.
You could give me the fucking any Duke team or any blue blood team you want in history. I'll fucking run them up against these Huskies.
Funny story. I was at Mohegan earlier this year. I think like November, when college basketball was starting, and Miami was playing in a tournament up at Mohegan, and I saw a couple guys walking through the casino. So, small world. Here we are. A couple months later in March. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. And then the last team in the Final Four before we get to UConn.
We can't talk the Elite Eight without talking the biggest moment of the weekend.
Yeah, the San Diego State Aztecs taking on the Creighton Blue Jays. Real quick, San Diego State, how did they get here? Round of 64 College of Charleston. That was another big upset a lot of people picked. That was, I think, probably the most picked 12-5 upset.
I picked them. I thought Charleston could get there. As a matter of fact, out of these at least three out of these Final Four teams, I had Charleston winning. Now, I did 3 brackets.
Yeah.
But I had FAU losing in all 3.
Yeah, you were a big Memphis guy.
I had Charleston beating San Diego State in at least 1, maybe 2. And I'm pretty sure I had Drake beating Miami in 2. Yeah. So
what the fuck do we know?
It goes to show that
yeah.
We're experts, but
yeah.
at the same time.
In the round of 32, they, to put it lightly, curb stomped Furman. And then they took care of 1 seed Bama. One sentence about Alabama. Brandon Miller. What the fuck happened this tournament, dude? Talk about somebody who shit the
I
bed.
thought you were a shooter.
Yeah. He's shooting better off the court than he is on the court, allegedly. So they take care of Once Bama, and then in the Elite Eight.
Bama just found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time in the Sweet 16 against San Diego State.
Yeah. The Aztecs were rolling.
That's all we could draw it up to. Wrong place, wrong time.
Something like that.
Right, Nate Oates? Does that sound right? Yeah.
And then in the Elite Eight, San Diego State takes care of the Creighton Blue Jays. And, take care might be a stretch. 57-56. If you don't know how it ended...
Yeah. I mean, we don't even have to talk about the game. All we have to talk about is...
the situation.
The last call.
So, San Diego State has the ball. Time's expiring. They go up. There's a foul called. Listen. Was it a foul? Yes. Should you have swallowed the whistle there? Yes, but not for the reason you think.
That's the big debate.
Not for the reason you think.
Should that have been a foul or not? Now, we'll certainly give you our input. Feel free to write it in the comments after you subscribe and like the video.
Yes, sir.
We want to know what you think, but first we're going to let you know what we think.
Yeah.
Would you like to start?
I will start. So, in this, and I'll be honest, I only watched about the back 9 of this game, back 9 minutes. I was not sitting on my couch from tip to end, so full transparency there. From what I got, they were letting them play for the most part, as far as, ticky-tacky calls and, things like that. They were calling what they had to, but for the most part, they were letting the boys play, which I appreciate, and they were fairly consistent up until the very end. When that happened, I was like, live look, I said, no way in hell was that a foul. No way in hell did I think that was a foul.
Which is funny because when I was watching that live, I'm like, dude, it kind of felt like it was slow-mo. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, he's going to foul him. Like, he's fucking on his ass.
Well, the thing is, nobody came to fucking help. Like, nobody for Creighton came to help. And, we don't have video rights. I can't fucking show you the clip. Go watch it. But he gets by the first level defender. Nobody comes in to help. And I understand, if you come in to help from down low, you dish it down low, they dunk it easy left. But, there was so little time left. I don't even know if they would have had time to pass and get a shot up. Nobody came to help for Creighton, which I thought was the problem for Creighton. But, so, like I said, in live time, I was like, oh, that's not a foul. I see the replay. I'm like, oh, that is a foul. I don't think, some people are like, just swallow the whistles late in the game, this and that. No, you can't. That gives the defense a fucking unfair advantage. Yeah. But consistency is also key. And like I mentioned, they were letting the boys play up into that point. Was it a foul? Yes. Does it suck the game end that way? Yes. Consistency says they probably shouldn't have called that call? Yes. All three can be true, and that's my 2 cents on it. But it's just, listen, right call or not, it's like the Super Bowl. It was the right call. It fucking sucks. That's how a game ends and the season ends.
But you can't change the way...
The rule book is.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was funny that you said live. Me watching that live... It wasn't like a late whistle, but like I said, it felt like it was slow motion. And when that shot was going up, I'm like, dude, he's gonna foul him like that. I thought it was a foul live, and then, I stood corrected while watching it in slow motion. I mean, take away the time, take away the score. It is a foul. He's got a forearm on the side, on the hip. He extends. Yeah. He pushes him out a little bit. So, I mean, didn't let him come down, threw him off. It's definitely a foul. Now, the score, the time, all that, which is obviously what makes this a big argument. I get it. If this happened in Uconn, I mean, I'd be like, oh, fuck. You can't call it then. But,
I know.
But listen, you can't, I said it the other day, you can't give the offense the shit end of the stick because, we can't end a game like that. So you can't bend the rules for the defense, give them an unfair advantage, let them play defense a little harder, a little more physical, because it's the end of the game. No, that doesn't happen. Nowhere in the rule book does it say that. Nowhere in the unwritten rules does it say that. You can't give the offense the shit end of the stick. You can't give them that kind of disadvantage and the defense an unfair, an unfair advantage. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, play better defense. Like you said, come up and help. I mean, what's his name? Nemhard got toasted. He got blown by, and he had to do what he could do to try to make a play.
Oh, there you go.
Like, if they didn't call a foul, I wouldn't, I don't think it would really be that mad. I mean, I don't know if it would be as big of a discussion. Like, you could see it going.
If they don't call a foul there and San Diego State loses, then, I mean, you probably get a
But that's like the conversation, too, talking about, you can't end a game on that. So, like, San Diego State loses in overtime. I mean, you fuck them,
exactly.
Basically. So, you said it. John Fanta, one of the better college basketball writers. I like following him now. It could be both the correct call and a rough way to end the game.
Most definitely.
It's anticlimactic. It takes a lot of the energy out of it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, you can't change. But you can't change.
What I thought was interesting was Creighton had a foul to give. There was about 3 or 4 seconds between shot and game clock. Creighton opted to give the foul to set up San Diego State with a chance at the buzzer. Like, instead of just playing D and potentially getting the ball with, like I said, whatever the 2-3 shot difference was. So, that was a little weird to me. I don't know. Like, how did you feel about that, giving the foul there?
I mean, I didn't mind, like, that's always, like, a tough thing.
Hindsight's 20/20, yeah.
Like, you want to foul them as close to zero as you can, but you also don't want to get them while they're shooting, which ironically they did. I think, like, and you said it too, like, I think the only argument that you really could have here is the way that the game was called.
That's the argument.
That's what you could argue. And the game was physical.
Yeah.
So don't tell me that it wasn't a foul, because it was a foul. You could tell me that, hey, they were letting them play all game. That might have happened, 2-3 times during the game, and it wasn't a foul. We could have that argument. We could have that debate then. But don't tell me, like, just, in a game of basketball that's not a foul, because it was a foul. Like, so there were some clueless people kind of arguing that, where it's like, you can't, like, Marty Mush. I don't mind Marty Mush. He is a Yankees fan, but he was going in on the refs and everything.
I'm not a Marty Mush college basketball guy.
Yeah. I mean, that would make me like a non-Marty Mush guy, because I don't like him in baseball either, but seems like a good guy, but I just don't want to hear his sports takes. He's doing something. He's a Duke basketball fan, but like,
he pulled Rhea. He's doing something.
You say, "Oh, you're going to end team seasons because you blow your whistle." You can't. I mean,
and then, I've seen other people, not just Marty. Marty gets it because he's the famous guy. Or not famous is a stretch. He's fucking known in the public eye for sports fans.
He's got a platform.
There you go. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, refs are fucking ridiculous." Like, what do you want to do? Fucking abolish refs and have a free for all out there? Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, shut up.
Listen,
but that's all I gotta say. I'm over it. Let's talk about.
Refs do have bad games and stink at times. We could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but But also, I just want to read it. Seth Davis, too, another great college basketball guy. If you decide a foul isn't a foul because the game is tied with a couple seconds left, then you're giving the defensive team an unfair advantage, which is what we said.
Yeah.
Refs don't decide a game by calling a foul. The players decide it by fouling, which I said, Nemhard, good basketball player, but he got toasted.
Yeah.
He got burned. Not the way anyone wanted the game to end. That's as good as you could put it.
Last thing I'm going to say about this game. Why the fuck do teams think it's better to throw a 94-foot alley-oop than take a half-court shot? Why? Why?
That's another thing, too. And I don't know if you watched the post-game on CBS.
I was...
Like, they weren't complaining, especially like Kenny. He wasn't complaining as much about the foul. He was complaining about how at one point there was 0.3 left, and then they just ended it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, were we not watching the slow-mo? Like, they didn't start the clock on time, which... it's tough because they don't have slow-mo. They're
doing it in live time. They're people.
Game speed. But when you watch that clip in slow-mo, like, the clock started like 0.7 seconds late. So that was another thing, like, people, including Marty, was bitching about. It's like, one, what are we gonna do with 0.3 seconds left?
You can't. You need .4 to get a shot.
You might be able to get a tip in with Kalkbrenner, but even like that's a stretch. But
my thing is like when they threw the pass, it was like 1.7. That's enough for arguably a dribble and a half-court shot. I like those odds much better than like a 94-foot alley-oop.
How many? It was 1.3, right?
It was 1 point something.
Yeah, well, I think I'm 99% sure it was 1.3. They could have caught
and shot.
I mean, Leitner's shot was, I think, barely 2.
Yeah. So, and I just don't get the throwing the 94-foot when you could shoot a half-court.
There's some good memes. There was the Jerry Jack Knicks meme throwing it 40 rows up. It was the Michael Scott.
There was some good
throwing them over the hoop.
All right.
But, like we said, feel free to share your comments with us after you subscribe, after you like. That's what makes this show great. That's what makes sports great. We get to talk about it. We get to agree. We get to disagree. And,
I think we could all agree on this next thing, though. That the Uconn Huskies have been the most impressive and the most dominant team in this tournament. And it ain't even fucking close.
Most dominant since Nova in 18.
Wow,
Nova just ran through everybody.
And Nova plays in what conference?
Not Big North.
No.
Oh, the Big East.
Oh, that's right, the Big East, the best conference in college basketball.
Debate your mother, because I mean.
It ain't a debate.
I mean, when was the last time the Big Tens won a championship?
2000.
2000 with Michigan State.
Yeah. Don't try to claim Maryland's in 2002. They weren't in the mid-10 then.
ACC?
It was 2000.
Maryland was in the ACC then?
I believe so. Yeah.
2000. We're
2000.
Talking 23 years.
The AAC won one more recently.
When's the last SEC? Was it Anthony Davis in Kentucky?
I believe so.
Big 12 obviously last year had.
Big 12. Big 12's the only argument I'll listen to, I think.
While I Google it, you talk.
I talk UConn. UConn's path. They beat Iona. That was the only team that was leading UConn at halftime, amazingly. That was a 24-point rout. Next round, St. Mary's. That was a 15-point rout. They beat Arkansas by 23, and then they just beat Gonzaga by about 28. Yeah, that's right. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, that team with Drew Timme, Mark Few leading the way. That team that's been
They held one of the best offensive team in America this year to 48 points. Right, 48?
For Gonzaga, 54.
54. 54.
That's still not much better.
6 more points. They averaged close to 90 a game.
Yeah.
They averaged in the 80s a game, and they freaking
scored
blew them out.
Like, listen, this UConn Huskies team is fucking different. They are.
That Gonzaga game, that was an opportunity for people to shit on Gonzaga. Dude, Gonzaga made it to the Elite Eight. For the past 5-6 years, they've been at that point. I get it's cool to shit on them,
Yeah, there's a PMT who, I'm not anti-PMT at Barstool or anything like that, but apparently they have a meme that's like, oh, Mark Few still hasn't been to a Final Four or whatever, and that's just wrong, obviously. I don't get the meme, but it's just I don't know. I don't know what the anti-shitting on Gonzaga.
They were runners up in 17, runners up in 21.
Yeah.
They've made the Final Four a couple times. That's a good program that knows how to win.
Yeah.
Mark Few he's got one of the best winning percentages of any coach out there.
Say what you want about the conference, but like you said, he gets to the Elite Eight, he gets to the Final Four. These are
what
fucking.
You want about their they play in that conference and look at what they've turned themselves into.
Yeah.
They're practically a blue blood.
Yeah.
They're there every year. They get big time recruits. They have NBA players. They're putting up these Final Four banners, things like that. So that's a team, a coach that knows how to win. Drew Timme. The guy, he's a doofy white dude, but he's one of the best college basketball players.
I'm a fan of Drew Timme. I almost feel bad that we ended his career like that.
And I feel bad that he had a bad game. I hope he comes back, which they threw that out there on the broadcast.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he will either. But the fact that I didn't think he had enough.
He's only played 4 years.
Yeah, I looked that up.
He's 22. He's a normal college age senior.
Yeah, and he's a legit senior, which is wild because it does feel he's been there for 6 years.
I
hope he comes back because I like watching the dude.
Not for nothing.
I would like to see him win.
Bro, Would you rather run it back at Gonzaga or go play overseas? You probably want to run it back.
He'll get more money, too, at Gonzaga, most likely.
Literally. With the NIL deals.
As I'm saying, very good program that knows how to win.
Yeah.
And they know how to win in March, and we just shit on them. Completely.
Shit on them.
Even that, dude, that Arkansas matchup scared me a little bit.
Yeah, Hogs.
Like
Hogs were playing good ball coming in.
Put that 8 seed to the side. I mean, this was a top 10 team, preseason top 10 team, and they experienced some injuries, things like that. And they started hitting their stride later in the year when it mattered. And they play good defense, except against us.
We put up 88.
That one scared me a little bit. And, knock on wood, they haven't made us sweat at all.
The most I've been sweating about this team is halftime of the Iona game.
Yeah.
And
that was they were down. They were down.
Yeah.
Which shows how good of a coach Rick Pitino is.
Facts.
What conference is he going? St. John's?
They play in the big something. Big. No, not
West?
12. Is it?
West?
Big Elite? No, I think it's East. Is it?
That's
No way. They're not getting another elite coach, are they?
Sounds like it.
Debate your mother.
Georgetown got 2 big-time recruits today.
Yeah, dude. I mean, PC's got to get the ball rolling again. Though they're holding down the end of the fucking Big East. But
we had some PC fans somewhat upset with our last podcast.
They did. Listen.
I mean,
how's it feel to still be the little brother?
I don't take pride in it. It's just I'm speaking the facts.
We speak only the truth and facts over here at BasedMent Sports, folks. I have never said anything into this camera that was a lie, and if I did, well, I plead the fifth.
One thing we gotta mention with this Uconn team
is how fucking good they are.
In addition to that, we're tough on Sonogo. We're tough on Hurley.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
rightfully so.
I mean, a lot of that too came from Fed. Maybe I didn't know that they could do this because this so far is one of the best runs ever as far as dominance.
Bro.
But we've known that they could get to the Final Four. They could win a championship. And that month of January was just dog shit.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't Uconn basketball. And when that happens, you're going to point fingers. You're going to call out names. Because, once again, this is Uconn basketball. We are a blue blood. When we win a national championship, we'll get deeper into that conversation. But last time I checked, this is the basketball capital of the world. All right? So we expect results. We expect big things. And we didn't have them in January, so we were a little bit upset. But Adama Sanogo, we'll start with him. He is cementing himself as one of the best Huskies ever if he could cap this off. And on top of it, the dude could come back next year and I don't know why. Yeah, but I mean, talking about Timmy, he doesn't really have an NBA future because he's not big enough. He's not 7 feet, 7 foot.
He doesn't stretch the floor enough for this league. He can't shoot the
ball. He's not that type of athlete where he could defend from the 3-point line in. So you hate to say it, but that's kind of where his future lies. But I mean, he's put together a great career so far.
He already did say though. Did you see him after last game?
I did. Yeah.
He said 2 more championship and I'm out. Which I love the 2 more championship part.
Let's get there and then we'll rethink it at the parade.
Yeah.
But the dude is balling, man. He is unstoppable. And we can talk about the points. We can talk about the rebounds. 5 assists at the half the other day.
Bro,
that was for me personally, that was my biggest issue with him. Is the ball would go into the post
and it's a black hole.
Would never leave. And it would be a 4 shot, it would be a turnover, or if he did pass it, it would be a bad pass that turned into an ugly shot or whatever. He's dishing the ball now because he's getting double teamed, number one, and for some reason teams just don't want to guard Andre Jackson.
That's where so this is where the double team's coming from. So you have Hawkins and Jackson out on the wing. The double team's coming from Jackson's guy, but now that Adama isn't afraid to kick out, if he kicks it out to Jackson, where's the rotation coming from? The other wing. Who's that? Oh, that's Hawkins' guy. Jackson hits Hawkins, and when Hawkins is shooting like he did last game,
lights out.
6 of 10 from 3.
Looks like
60%. That's pretty damn good.
Looks like Jesus Shuttlesworth.
I mean, when they get going, they are.
How many assists did he finish with the other night?
Sonogo finished with 6. Jackson had 10.
But Dude, 6 assists. I mean, I'm sure you could go back to January and through a 4 or 5 game stretch, he didn't have 6 combined. He's playing, and he's playing good defense. He's playing complete basketball, dominating. Like I said, he is cementing his legacy up there with Emeka.
So
as one of the best bigs to come through here.
Going into last game, you would have to take his assist totals from the last 9 before last game to have 6 total.
So 9 games to get 6 total.
In the 9 games leading up to the last game, he had 7 total. And he had 6 the other night.
Exactly. He's saving his best basketball.
For when it matters most.
For when it matters most. Complete basketball. So, shout out to Adama and the rest of these guys.
Absolutely.
But we got to talk Coach Hurley.
Listen, the jokes have been out there. He still can't win a close game. Hasn't needed to win a close game. What was our big complaint about Coach Hurley early in the season? He doesn't adjust. Guess what he's done this whole tournament? Adjust. Because all of these games have been close at halftime.
Yeah, but that's all the tournament is too. You get a day to prepare for it. You beat Arkansas, you get a day to prepare for Gonzaga, which is a tough thing to do with Gonzaga and Drew Timme. Same thing being Iona and then playing St. Mary's. Listen, we called the guy out. I mean, you can call us crazy, you can call us haters, whatever, but one, it's not that we want to call the guy out. So it's not that we want to dislike him at times.
But
we're calling it like it is.
What have you done for me lately?
I mean, are they not well-warranted complaints back in January?
Most
we looked like a dog shit basketball team, so we were gonna call it like it was then. Exactly. And it was consistent. It was consistent with problems we had in the past. All right, but a lot of that is changing. Which, that's what you need to do. That's his job. Fix your ways, change your ways, adapt, improve, all of that. And he's done that in March. And a lot of people were upset with how the Big East tournament ended, so the pressure that he turned up a little bit on Coach Hurley.
I said he had to win at least 2 tournament games this year. Obviously, now I'm getting greedy and he needs to win 6.
The goals.
Now he needs to win all 6.
It's funny. Down at, shout out, Tuck's Tavern, one of our favorite places in Naugatuck.
Sponsor us.
I'm sitting down there. We're talking Uconn because that's
that's the talk of the town.
That's the talk of the town. I'm talking to state, and this guy says to me, he's talking about Hurley. He's like, I used to dislike Hurley, but I gotta give him his respect now. Like what else? What else am I gonna say about the guy? And I'm like, absolutely. Like I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like I mean, and I loved Hurley at Rhode Island. I mean, I've always
never been a doubt about his recruiting either.
But I've always wanted more from him. And he's given that. So, same boat as this guy. And then this guy comes out of left field and goes, yeah, I never really liked Calhoun either. And I'm like, whoa. I almost fell out of my bar stool. I'm like, did this guy just say Calhoun? The guy that gave us not only 3 championships, 4 Final Fours, he gave us Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton, Kemba, Emeka, Ben Wallace. He did. Not only did he do all that, he's the reason why we have all this.
Yeah.
When the guy took what the fuck was Uconn? Uconn basketball stores? Like
where the fuck is that?
So that's like God.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah.
I'm like
let's put some respect.
That one had me going. I'm like I'm like, you got it. You definitely had your point with Hurley. Yeah. He's given us times where you could say that, but wait, Calhoun.
Let's be better guy.
I almost gave him. He's not that bad. I almost had. I should have played that clip for him.
All right, we got
one of the best post-game press conference interviews ever. Shout out Ryan Gomes, Waterbury native, who sparked that conversation.
We have discussed the Elite Eight. We're in the Final Four now. San Diego State, FAU play the early game on Saturday. I believe it's a 6:30-ish tip.
Yeah, it's like 6:29. Like they want to be weird.
6:09
or 6:09.
Even weirder.
Aztecs,
Owls. Who do we got?
Listen, I meant to make note of this earlier. I kind of lost track. shout out to San Diego State. People forget that in 2020 this team was 30-2, and they probably
that is a good note to
probably would have been a 1 seed.
Yeah,
and that still kills me.
Yeah.
COVID gave us some good, some bad, but some of the worst of COVID was San Diego State 30-2 would have been a 1 seed, would have been fun to watch. Dayton had Obi Toppin.
I forgot about that Dayton team. Oh my God!
Like, we were deprived of a run like that. And for those who know me, Uconn basketball, that's my number one. I mean, that don't really need to say, but I love me at Florida. I'm a Florida State guy and everything. That Florida State team would have made a Final Four run too.
They were very good.
And similar to this year, we would have just had randoms all over, which would have been fun. So, shout out to San Diego State. Shout out to Brian Dutcher. For anybody, any 30 for 30 fans out there, you might be watching San Diego State. You might see their head coach. You might say, oh, that guy looks familiar. Brian Dutcher was an assistant at Michigan with the Fab Five. He worked, what's the coach's name? I gotta go back into my Steve Fisher. Mm-hmm. He worked with Steve Fisher for many, many years. Steve Fisher went to San Diego State after Michigan. He's taken over for him. So I just wanted to give my respect to Dutcher and to this program. They're doing some big things. Exciting matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
San Diego State plays great defense.
That's the thing.
Pissed at myself because I wanted to tweet out on our basement account, I love the under in that Creighton San Diego State game. From Saturday night on, I loved it.
I don't bet unders.
And I did bet it and I did win, but I'm mad that I didn't get it out there for all of you to take advantage. I loved it because they play great defense. And FAU plays great offense, so it's a clash of both.
It is. But FAU has shown that they can play and win a low-scoring game in this tournament. 62-55 over 4-seed Tennessee in the Sweet 16. That's not an offensive battle. So they've proven that they can win that type of game if need be.
And what does concern me with San Diego State's offense, to me,
hasn't 75 this tournament.
Hasn't been too consistent. It was bad the other day against Creighton. That was just a dogfight on the defensive end. Toss up for me. I think I'm gonna go with the Owls. It's a tough one. I feel like Cinderella teams. I feel like this is where the buck usually stops for them. When you talk VCU, George Mason, Loyola, Chicago. Yeah. Usually feels like the Final Four is where that ends. I think that their offense is just a little too good. And I don't know if San Diego State will be able to keep up with them. Now I don't envision this game being one that I, bet, because to me it's a flip of a coin.
San Diego State is 2-point favorites. Just throwing that out there.
It's a tough one, but should be interesting. I'm excited. I think as of today, I think I'm gonna go bold and I'm gonna go the Owls. I doubted them round 1, round of 64, and they've been big for me since. Shame on you and shame on everybody in the group chat. I said Sweet 16 Tennessee. Who's riding FAU money line with me? And nobody rode with me. And I took home some cash. So shout out to them for that. I'm gonna ride with the Owls.
All the numbers.
Shout out Eric Dome.
All the numbers I'm looking at right now say FAU. Better team field goal percentage on the year. Better 3-point percentage on the year. They average more rebounds a game. They average more assists. They're exactly tied in turnovers per game. With all that being said, mainly because, as you mentioned just a few moments ago, I really feel for the 2020 team. I'm going to go with the Aztecs. I think, I get the Cinderella story is cool and all, but I think, and it's not righting a wrong because it's nobody's fault that COVID happened and San Diego State didn't get to make a run in 2020. But I think it would be great for the Aztecs and great for San Diego State.
It would be a story. It would be a story book. Type of
just to get murdered by Uconn
for both of these teams. But
yeah, for sure. But I'm gonna go Aztecs in this one, and I don't think I have to ask who you're taking in the other one.
Before we move on, I just want to say, San Diego State's leading scorer is Matt Bradley. All you Naugatuck people, take that as you will. For some, that might be a good sign. For some, that might be an oh shit. Let's back out. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. I took Matt Bradley points the other day, and this Matt Bradley looked a lot like the Matt Bradley I know. He fucked me. So take it as you will. Matt Bradley, a little more than 12 points a game.
132 is the over/under in that one. That's about 66 each.
Good math. Mm-hmm. I think I like the over in this one. Just because of FAU.
I also, I know it's a horrible way to look at it because the odds are super slim. Close game, overtime's always a possibility. This is coming from a guy who literally, you could ask this him. I don't bet unders. The total for an NFL game could be 400. I'm not betting the under. I'm not doing it. I don't bet unders. So, take what I say about unders with a grain of salt. The other one, the late game, the 8:49 tip. Miami, Uconn. I don't got to ask you who you're taking, so I'm going to ask you this. Do they cover the 5.5? They're 4-0, obviously, in the tournament. They're also 4-0 against the spread. Do they cover the 5.5? That's the real question, because I know who you're taking.
Absolutely.
They're winning their games by on average of 22.5 points.
I think it'll be a competitive game. I don't expect them to whoop ass like they have, but they're winning. I think
they're winning convincingly.
I think it could be.
Miami's got good guard play. They got good guard play.
Isaiah Wong's a very good basketball player.
I don't think they have the height and the strength down low to handle Adama.
No, absolutely not.
Because now for nothing, you wear Adama down. Okay, cool. 7-footer, 7'2". Donovan, get in there.
We got size. We got athleticism. I say I could see it being a competitive ball game. Under 8 timeout, and then we just pull away.
I could see it almost going the other way. Not as far as Miami being up 8-12 consistently and then UConn pulling away. I could see it being kind of back and forth until, like you said, that under 8 TO, and then Dan Hurley kind of looks at everyone and is like, all right, what the fuck are we doing letting these guys hang around? And then Jordan Hawkins, bang! Adama, slam!
We can't let him hang around too much because, it was a close kind of game for Miami the other day, but it was Texas winning, and then all of a sudden they just switch.
So they know how to win close games. They know how to win tight games.
Listen,
they're not a team to slouch at. They're not, and I'm super stoked though.
We go about 8 or 9 deep too. In Miami the other day they played 9 guys, but one of them played 4 minutes, didn't score a point. The other played 3 minutes, didn't score a point. The other played 8 minutes, didn't score a point. So I don't really know how much they're actually bringing off their bench that is a threat for us. Now, us on the other hand, we had 3 bench players see double-digit minutes, and then another one saw 8 minutes. Naheem Aline, 17 minutes, 8 points. Joey California, 14 minutes, 8 points. He's been shooting the ball very well. He's been stroking that thing.
Hey, you!
And then Donovan, only 12 minutes. 6 points, though.
Yeah.
But 12 minutes. Let's get him up just a little. I want 15. 15 at the least. That doesn't even seem like a lot.
Yeah, I think Donovan should be probably playing about 15 to 18.
But we run deep.
Adama was playing so well.
We run deep. Our second unit could compete with anybody out there.
This is the last diss I'm going to take at them. Put our second unit as a starting unit on a team in the Big Ten, and they're winning the Big Ten.
Oh, easy.
So, fuck you, Big Ten.
The Mid-10. That entire conference is on my no-bet list.
Fuck the Mid-10.
2000. I didn't even realize that.
But they're bigger than the Big East.
Give
me a break.
Which also, not to disrespect Tom, is a great coach, but January, February, is it why? Guys got 1 championship and it was 23 years ago.
When the Huskies win this tournament and win every game by almost 20 points, it's going to go January, February, Huskies.
It's always been that. And I said it earlier, he just said it. We'll have that conversation when we get to that point, but we're on the verge of 5 in a 23, 24-year span.
That's insane.
That would be 2 more than anybody else out there. Say what you want to me about Duke, about Kentucky, about Kansas, UNC. We're doing this now with our third coach. All right?
It's like your conference.
And we're doing this out of a small farm town in Connecticut.
Listen, I was showing my friend Travis this. Google Earth the Uconn campus and then zoom out. It takes a while before you see more civilization. We ain't kidding when we say it's Cowtown. For Corioso Ito Plasky, I'm Matt Polick. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on all socials. Link in bio. Let's have a weekend and roll skis. UCONN.
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 Hey. Oh, I have my back.
I'm leaving that off.